Hey Taggers, welcome to your digital reteach for plant and animal cell organelles. This digital reteach goes after Texas Essential Knowledge and Skill 7.12d. Differentiate between structure and function in plant and animal cell organelles, including cell membrane, cell wall, nucleus, cytoplasm, mitochondrion, chloroplast, and vacuole. Now it's very important you understand how you're going to get credit for this reteach. Use the Cornell Note worksheet from your teacher while you watch this video. Take notes, answer the questions, and then write your summary at the end. Then go back and show your completed Cornell Notes worksheet to your teacher. They will then give you information about the next retest. Now the nice thing is with the video, you have time to pause it and go back. So anytime you feel like we're going too fast, simply pause it, go back to the spot you need to for more help. Alright, let's begin. The first section of your notes is called What We Want to Know. And if you could imagine, everything that you really need to know about all this stuff, all these different organelles, are found in this table. Now, we don't want you to try to fill this in your notes. You're just not going to have space for it. But here's the list of all the different organelles. So we've got cell membrane, cell wall, the nucleus, cytoplasm, mitochondrion, chloroplast, and vacuole. Now there are more than this, but these are the major ones that in the state of Texas you just have to know. So what do we have to know about these? Well, we need to know the structure. So we need to know kind of what does it look like? Could we identify it if we saw it in a picture? What is the function? What's the job? Why is this organelle in the cell? What does it do? What's its purpose? And then we need to know, is that organelle found inside of a plant cell, inside of an animal cell, or both? And that can be a little tricky. That just takes some time looking back and forth in your notes until you can understand it. So if we look at the plant cell notes section of your notes, this will give you a chance to look at all those major organelles and learn a little bit about each one. So let's start with the cell membrane. The cell membrane is a flexible covering that protects the inside of a cell from the environment outside of the cell. Moving on, let's take a look at the cell wall. The cell wall is a stiff structure outside the cell membrane that protects a cell from attack by viruses and other harmful organisms. Next up is the nucleus. The nucleus directs cell activity and contains genetic information stored in the DNA. Up next, we have cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the liquid or sometimes jelly-like part of a cell that is inside the cell membrane. It contains salts and other molecules. Up next is the mitochondrion. This is the powerhouse of the cell. It'll act like the digestive system of the cell by taking in nutrients and breaking those nutrients down, and that'll create energy for the cell to use. Up next for the plant cell, we have chloroplast. The chloroplast uses light energy and makes food, a sugar called glucose, from water and carbon dioxide in a process that is called photosynthesis. Next, we have the central vacuole. In a plant cell, this is the membrane that surrounds a mass of fluid. This can be used as a storage container. It can store food or waste. For a plant cell, the vacuole is very, very large. If you ever see a plant that's wilted and looks like it's dying, quite often the central vacuole will be almost empty, and that'll let the leaves wilt and look really sickly-like. Alright, let's move on to the animal cell. So go a little further down in your notes. If we went too fast on the plant cell, simply back up the video, go back and pause where you need to. So if we look at an animal cell, usually looks a little bit more round than a plant cell. A lot of the different organelles are going to be similar. So once again, here we have a cell membrane. Same thing. This is a flexible covering that protects the inside of a cell from the environment outside the cell. Next up, we have a nucleus. Just like in the plant cell, it directs cell activity and it contains genetic information that is stored in DNA. Cytoplasm. Once again, the liquid or jelly-like part of a cell inside the cell membrane, and that contains salts and other molecules. Mitochondrion. That is the powerhouse of the cell. It acts like the digestive system of the cell by taking in nutrients and then breaking those nutrients down, thus creating energy for the cell to use. Now, it's not shown in this picture, but most animal cells that you think of are going to have vacuoles. It's just not like the plant cell vacuole that's huge. There can be many little vacuoles in an animal cell. So unlike the plant cell that has one large one, an animal cell usually has many that are smaller. Okay, so go ahead and flip your note page over to the back. On the back, we have a section called Identifying the Organelle. And on your notes, you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So what we're going to do is we're going to match the description to the correct organelle. The first time you do this, try to do as much as you can without looking back at your notes or going back in the video. That way you can see which ones you really know and which ones you still need more time to practice. So if we look at your list, all right, this is the exact same list you have on your notes. We're going to put up numbers with descriptions. So once again, if we go too fast, simply pause it and back up a little bit. So number 1 says this one uses light energy and makes food, a sugar called glucose, from water and carbon dioxide in a process called photosynthesis. So on your notes, you need to write the number 1 next to whichever letter you feel this goes with. So one of the organelles over here matches this description. Pause the video if you need more time. Number 2, the powerhouse of the cell acts like the digestive system of the cell by taking in nutrients and breaking them down, thus creating energy for this cell. So on your notes, write number 2 next to the correct letter for the right organelle. Number 3, a flexible covering that protects the inside of a cell from the environment outside the cell. Number 4, directs cell activity and contains genetic information stored in DNA. Number 5, a membrane that surrounds a mass of fluid used as storage that can be storing food or waste. Number 6, a stiff structure outside the cell membrane that protects the cell from attack by viruses and other harmful organisms. Last one, number 7, the liquid part of a cell inside the cell membrane contains salts and other molecules. Okay, so once again, pause the video if you need more time. Go back a little bit if you need to get this started again, and then we'll check your answers on the next moment. Okay, so for checking your answers, so pause the video right now if you still need more time. But what we'll do is we'll show you the answers just to make sure you're on the right track. This is one of those things, if you're not getting these right on the first or second try, it's going to take some practice. You might need to create some flashcards. You might need to have a family member at home quiz you, have them read the descriptions, see if you can name the organelle, or see if they can give you an organelle and you give them a description. That way you know the functions really well. So here is the correct answer. Pause it for a moment if you're not sure, but if you have all these correct, we're on the right track so far. All right, moving on to the last section of the video, specific to. For this section, we've got 2 questions. Now, on these 2 questions, I will not give you the answers in the video, but these are 2 questions that you need to use to kind of put it all together so that you really understand where are these found, whether it be a plant cell or an animal cell. So question 1, Which organelles are found in plant cells but not found in animal cells? Write out your answer. It should be at least one good sentence. For question 2, which organelles are found in animal cells but are not found in plant cells? Okay, so go back in the video if you need help on that. Look back in your notes if you need help on that. But that'll help you really understand which ones are in which cell. Now the last thing you need to do is there's a summary section of your notes. So you need to write a short paragraph and you need to explain the difference between structure and function in plant organelles and animal organelles. And that way you can use all those different pieces and learn everything about it that you need to learn. All right, good luck, Tigers. You should be all set. As soon as you finish this and you finish your notes, show that to your teacher the next day so they can tell you how to do the next reteach.